the thing that I care the most about is family. And I grew up hunting and traveling with my family, and now I have my own babies and wonderful husband. And now hunting has been sort of the nucleus of why we've all been able to stay so close so naturally without like really trying very hard, because we naturally want to go on adventures or into the woods or shoot bows or
Yeah.
invite over for wild game. And that really is based around hunting being the center of it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Mountain Tough Podcast. I am Dustin Defender for CEO and host, and I am so glad that you are here. We absolutely love seeing you dive back into these episodes week after week, and it is our goal to bring you an inspiring guest every single episode that helps you with that mental toughness, that mental fitness, that helps you add some mindset tools to that toolbox so that you can stay dangerous, so that you can live always ready, and you can live an abundant life. If you are a new listener, I do want to make sure you know about the code for podcast listeners. We do have an exclusive code for the Mountain Tough app for listeners of the show. This code is going to get you 6 weeks free of Mountain Tough. That code is Mountain Pod, MTNPOD, all one word, all caps. If you use that code at mountaintough.com after clicking start free trial, it gets you 6 weeks of free training on the Mountain Tough Plus app, which is going to include all our physical training, our mental toughness training, our spiritual training, our nutritional training. It is all in there. One subscription unlocks all of our content. So if you're not a subscriber already, make sure you check that out. That is the best way to get going on Mountain Tough. Secondly, if you have not yet left a rating or review on the show, it does mean the world to me to see those come through. I love seeing your guys' feedback. I love seeing the community's feedback come through and through the rankings and the algorithm. It allows these episodes to get out to more people. You can do that on anywhere you're listening to your podcast, and it does mean the world to me. Shifting over to today's guest on the Mountain Tough Show today, we have Eva Shockey. Eva Shockey is a phenomenal human. I really enjoyed this conversation and her beliefs and her ethos and her mission. She is Jim Shockey's daughter. She did co-host Jim Shockey's Hunting Adventures on the Outdoor Channel alongside her father. She was the second woman ever to appear on the cover of Field and Stream magazine. Now she's residing in North Carolina with her husband and with her children, sharing the love of the outdoors with the world, continuing to be an ambassador, a role model for young women, for girls that are interested into getting into hunting. That's a big topic for me. Me having 2 daughters and getting them into the outdoors is always something that I'm trying to learn more about. So this was a fun, fabulous conversation. So stand by for the Mountain Tough Podcast with Eva Shockey. So how long have you guys been living in North Carolina?
We have lived, we moved here when I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter, and she's like 8.5. So
Wow.
9-ish years we moved out here. My husband retired from hockey right then, and we're both from Canada and couldn't decide which side of Canada to move because we're from opposite ends. He's from like Ontario and I'm from Vancouver, like British Columbia. So
Yeah.
like the Buffalo, New York to Seattle. And so we could not agree which direction to go. So we ended up we're like, well, let's live somewhere we want to live. We both had work visas because of our jobs, and moved to Raleigh, or just like we're on 15 acres outside of Raleigh, and
Nice.
we love it here. It's great.
That's awesome. Was it a big shock for you coming out of British Columbia into the South?
So I grew up in one home. My dad still lives there. And so I didn't move anywhere technically till college, I guess, but all through high school, we had to have summer. This is a really long answer to your question, but we had to have jobs all through high school. And all my friends were like, hostesses and mowing lawns. And I would go to Europe and nanny and work in people's houses because I love traveling. And then when I graduated, I went to university in Australia because I wanted like a cool adventure. And then as soon as I did that, I went and moved around a bunch again. And so I had never lived in the South technically, but I had lived all over the place. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very normal just to keep moving. When my husband and I, when he was still playing, we lived in Russia for 2 years. We lived in Pennsylvania for his last season. And then we lived in Ontario for training. And like we were just at Florida was where our house was. I mean, all over the place. So what it was actually nice was settling somewhere. We
Yeah.
were 30 and most people I feel like want to go travel. I was like, I want to have a bedroom and
It's time to
unpack my
settle.
suitcase for more than a year at a time. And yeah, so it's been, although we built this house 6 years ago that we're living in, and we were both like, we could move again and build again. And we have a
Yeah.
hard time settling and
You like
letting
change.
us fall.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's awesome. It's nice to explore the world and see a lot of different places.
Hmm. Especially
And
when so you have 10 and 8, you said
yeah,
daughters?
12 and 10.
12 and 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we have an 8-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. And I don't know if it was like this in your family, but when they were little, it was just hard to do all the big adventures and trips and all that. But now with 8 and 5, we're just starting to feel like, okay, we could strap them up and go, go
Yeah.
wherever and bring them with us and not feel like you have to bring a whole U-Haul full of diapers and whatever else the babies require all the time.
It is a nice age. Yeah, you can start doing some of those bigger trips and a little bit more of like the backcountry trips and stuff at that age. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're just getting into both of them are starting to shoot bows. My daughter's actually pretty good. She has 1,000 interests, so she's hard to like get her to focus in and like
Mm.
practice because she's a competitive dancer and they play tennis and golf and my son does hockey and baseball. I mean, we are like a million miles an hour, but we're like, can we make sure we take the time to shoot our bows and get used to that? Because that for us is like where we would love to spend more time with them is going on trips like that.
That's amazing. Yeah, and shooting a bow as a kid is a lot. It's a lot to put all the pieces together. And I think that if you don't start them young also with archery, then you kind of miss out on those first couple years of hunting. Like in Montana, you can hunt officially at 12. And if you're not practicing archery skills before 12, it's a hard thing to just pick up a bow and go. So starting
And
them
like
young is
to
awesome.
be able to shoot heavy enough for the little kids to get a deer. I mean, you don't have to shoot a
Yeah.
ton, but like you can't be shooting 10 pounds, which is probably what my daughter's pulling right now. But it's
Yeah.
a good, it also was something when we taught them, or my husband works a lot, he's a developer. So I was teaching her how to shoot and because she's a daughter and she's very stubborn and, I'm strong-willed. And so the two of us butt heads sometimes.
Hmm.
And I actually hired, which obviously I know how to teach my daughter how to shoot a bow, but she was having a hard time like fully grasping because it's not something where you can mess with the rules. Like it's a weapon, you have to be, these
Yeah.
are the rules and you can't really bend them. You can't accidentally aim at your brother. Like these are like very hard rules. And so I ended up hiring the lady who owns the local archery shop just so that my daughter had somebody else to tell her these initial rules.
Oh
And now
man.
daughter and I will shoot together. I'm like, I just need someone to step in the middle of us and make sure that she really understands this isn't just silly mommy saying like this is a really serious line in the sand. Like you don't turn around when you're at full draw and that kind of thing. But she does great. My son's 5. He has a diamond bow, but he doesn't shoot it yet, mostly just because we don't really trust him. He's kind of wild and he's a little boy. I'm like, I don't know if him at full draw, he shoots like a fake bow and he's pretty good
Yeah,
at it. We haven't given him actual arrows with field tips yet.
that's probably smart. You would have some arrows like stuck in your house in the walls somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like a personality thing. Lots of 5-year-olds can shoot bows. My daughter did at 5, but my son is a different specimen than my daughter, and he's just the mental mental focus is not quite there for shooting a bow yet.
One of the keys to maximizing your workout is to make sure that you're eating clean and putting the right fuel in your body. Mountain Tough has preached this since the beginning. You're also seeing a shift right now nationally where we're calling out hidden additives, hidden substances in our food. As a hunter, when you process your own meat, you control everything. No additives, no shortcuts, no compromises. Just clean fuel built for peak performance. My family has been processing our own wild game for years. using field-tested, hardcore processing equipment from the team over at Meat. Meat offers world-class grinders, stuffers, slicers, everything you need to turn your wild game into clean, high-octane fuel. No gimmicks, just high-quality tools that get the job done, and they're backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Take control of your life. Take control of your health. Click the link in the podcast description below to claim your special offer from Meat and start fueling the right way today. So what is your approach and your thought and kind of strategy on hunting now that you have kids of your own? So you obviously grew up spending a tremendous amount of time in the outdoors with your dad. And now what are your thoughts on how you're going to pass that down to your kids?
I've been made very aware since becoming a parent that bringing your kids on hunting trips is a lot harder than leaving them with a babysitter and going on a hunting trip. And that is something that when I was younger, I didn't fully appreciate. I think I've said thank you to my parents, or my mom's passed since, but said thank you to my dad, and just about, you took us on all these trips. And now that I can see how much more work it is to bring your kids with you and do what they need and make sure it's not just about you. So that's been sort of eye-opening because we really want to involve them. But there's been some times we're like, no, we're going to bring them. We're not going to necessarily get to hunt like we wanted to, but you have to let them start up, and you have to let them talk in the blind because they're 2, 3, 4 years old. And that's how you start and make it fun. I actually didn't hunt personally until I was 20 after university. So I went on all the trips. My dad was a big hunter. My mom was a vegetarian when they first met. So I came from this, and she was a professional dancer. And so I was a competitive dancer and athlete. Yeah. And I just was not sure where I fell into. I didn't know any females that hunted. I didn't know it was a thing you do. I didn't want to be perceived a certain way, this super butch girl, because that's all in my head that I could picture, which is clearly, now we both know, is not the case. Yeah. So I just didn't hunt for a while. But when I did start hunting, it was very important to me that my dad sort of let me do it at my own pace and didn't force me, which I think is why eventually I did start hunting on my own and not get turned off because he was forcing me to do it. And so with our kids, we're kind of doing the same thing. That our daughter's pretty girly. She loves, competitive dancer and all that, but she loves shooting her bow. I'm not sure how she's going to do. She hasn't seen a hunt where an animal gets shot. I think she would be okay because she's so smart. She can put that all together. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to experience it now that I'm the parent, to show them how fun it is. I think walking them through it and giving them an example of not just saying, oh, you should go hunting like this. We love this. Here's why we love it. We love it because we're outside. We love it because we're in God's creations. We love it because we eat the meals and we eat the elk burgers and the moose burgers and the steaks and all that. And then we also love it. I mean, you can probably see I have animals all around behind me. We love the stories from it. We love the photos on the walls from it. So just showing that, leading by example, and then hopefully that they'll pick up on that. And we just don't want to force them. But at the same time, I'm like, are you guys ready to hunt yet? Do you want to go? Do you want to go?
I love that because my oldest daughter, she only at 12, she absolutely loves hunting. And my youngest has really no interest in it, doesn't want to hunt, which is completely fine because we do bring them on a bunch of awesome adventures together. And my youngest is completely fine going on awesome adventures without being the hunter. But it is really interesting how you started that topic with my oldest daughter, who you can just kind of see it in her eyes, see it in her body language, her passion and excitement around hunting she's had for a long, long time. So she was able to hunt at 10 as a Montana apprentice. She was able to go on a South African youth hunt at 11. And then she's done a lot of Montana deer and elk hunting now. But it is that interesting dichotomy. She's into competitive gymnastics. And so when she's talking around her friends at gymnastics, she's probably one of the only hunters in her pretty giant gymnastics school. And so she's kind of in that spot where she loves to hunt, but since she's the only girl, oftentimes it creates like some interesting conversation. So then when we're talking about trips and planning trips, she's excited and she's going to go. But her first question is always, what other girl can we bring with us? And she's always looking for like that other young hunter that can join us. So it's a different thing than like a young boy that's starting out, it seems like.
Yeah. And I think, well, kind of what you're saying, though, the more that she feels confident to talk about it at gymnastics or in school or wherever and not be embarrassed or ashamed because she might be one of the fewer that does it, the more we talk about it. I mean, that's kind of what social media has done and spread it far and wide. It wasn't talked about really for a very long time. I grew up, I was in Canada in a small town. My immediate family and friends, no one I knew personally hunted that was a female. And then we didn't have internet. I mean, there was no such thing as internet back then. And we had TV, but not anything where I would be watching hunting shows in this small town Canada. So it was something that was not talked about, which I would have loved because I was a competitive dancer and, all in that world. I would have loved back then if I had a little girl that also hunted and invited me out with her dad to go hunting, so I could have experienced that earlier instead of being, just worried what people would think, which I think we've all been in those stages of life as a young 10-year-old, 13-year-old child. Yeah. But I think the more it just becomes normalized and it's okay. What I realized when I started hunting, I was competing and teaching dance at the time. So I was like the peak of dance. And I realized by then I was 20 and I was old enough to get my head around the fact that I can look however I want to look. I can wear makeup. I can be as girly as I want and still love to hunt. And you don't have to give up those things. You don't I'm still very feminine and very into a lot of things. And I just love that I can go put camo on and shoot a bow. And I think that's equally or more fun as wearing a dress and whatever. So I think it's great for young girls like that to experience that early and just kind of get used to it. And then I tell any girl that asks me, I'm like, it's been very cool being a female who hunts. Like way more pros than cons.
Yeah. I mean, it's really cool, the opportunities that it's, opened up for you and the ability for you to kind of leverage that platform to inspire so many young girls. It's a game changer.
Yeah. It's been the opportunities that I've received because of it. I think what was important there is that I never went into it necessarily looking for that or wanting, I wanted to learn how to hunt at 20. If you would have asked me and if I would have the choice, I would never have done it on TV. I did not want to be filmed on my first hunt or the first probably couple of years of hunting. Cause I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. Being on TV when it's not your show. It's not always the most comfortable thing, but for me, it was my family business. So there was no option. And I was extremely lucky to go on a hunt and, have that covered and be able to go hunt. And I think my first hunt was in South Africa and it was just because my dad was going for his TV show. Yeah. So I didn't go into it looking for a job out of it. It was just God's timing and the right place, right time. And it was really, honestly, the best thing that came out of me hunting. The career and the opportunities is amazing. And the people that I've been able to reach is amazing. But personally, being able to connect with my dad over hunting, because before that, we didn't have a ton in common. We were close, but me and him didn't have a lot of stuff that we both did that was the same. So once we started hunting, we became really close. And it sounds like you and your daughter, that's a really incredible bond. The time spent when you're in the mountains or you're hiking or you're in a camp or a tent, that I would never have spent with him at 20. That was a lot. So you're lucky that you're ahead of it and you have her at this age. And hopefully during those awkward years where she could be going all different directions, you'll have her on a mountain somewhere.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool for you too, because you were able to kind of restore that relationship with your dad at 20, where that bond got stronger in that 20 to 30 age group, which is where a lot of, fathers and daughters will start kind of peeling apart, but you guys were able to come back closer together. As someone who shoots a lot, finding ammo can be a challenge. Ammo shortages come and go depending on the season. These guys at Ammo Squared have solved this problem. They procure your ammo for you All you need to do is set your monthly budget, pick your ammunition. They are going to find that ammo and they are going to store it for you in their climate controlled facility. They do have over 70 calibers to choose from so that you can try a variety of ammunition. When you're ready to use it, they ship it directly to you and you're good to go. With summer coming up, whether you're preparing for PRS rifle competitions, USPSA pistol competitions, NRL Hunter Series, or preparing for the Range 4 hunting season, Ammo Squared has you covered, and they're going to help you resupply that training ammo. Visit ammosquared.com for a special offer and to stay fully stocked.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And before that, we were just always a very close family, but me and my mom were like best friends. And so then when we started hunting, she's like, wait a minute, like, where are you guys going together? And so then it was fun because she would come on some of the hunts too. And yeah, basically, but the thing that I care the most about is family. And I grew up hunting and traveling with my family. And now I have my own babies and wonderful husband. And now right now, actually, my kids are with my dad. They're antique shopping, and it's just hunting has been sort of the nucleus of why we've all been able to stay so close so naturally without like really trying very hard, because we naturally want to go on adventures or into the woods or shoot bows or invite over for wild game. And that really is based around hunting being the center of it.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's the special part of hunting is it's so much more than a sport. It is a lifestyle. And then that lifestyle creates amazing memories because everything's such a grand adventure.
Yeah, I agree. I always say it's a 365-day lifestyle because there is hunting season, which obviously is specific days, but then the rest of the year, I mean, you're shooting, you're setting up trail cameras. For me, I love to cook. That's a big part of my life is cooking and preparing food. So all throughout the year, we're eating the meat from, I have to go over to the freezer, like down the hallway, get our wild game, bring it out, make a plan, think about what we're eating, often inviting other people to gather at our house for it. So like this animal that you went on this hunt for, it lasts the entire time. The experience, the adventure, the stories, like just the joy that hunt was until hunting season comes back around and suddenly you're back and then you get to do it again. So to us, it's not something that starts and stops when like deer season opens, which I really love about it. But yeah, it's hard to really complain about. I just think hunting, the outdoor lifestyle is just the best ever. And I wish more people were open to it or at least got to experience it because I can't imagine what my life would be if I had not tried it.
Yeah, it's something definitely super magical. And I did want to ask you about that because it has been a reoccurring theme in the Mountain Tough podcast, especially I'd say recently. The theme is kind of this personal agency and taking the risk and the leap of faith to kind of create your life the way that you want to create it. And you did that and you're continuing to do that. And it even was kind of a big theme of your book. When you wrote your book, one of the themes was designing kind of your life in the way you want to design it, and taking the path less traveled was a big part of that. And you doing that is what allowed you to create the lifestyle you have now. And a lot of people want to do that and they see that they need to do that, but I think they get stuck on the fear, and the fear keeps them in a traditional sense of security and safety, which then leads them to not have the lifestyle they want. So where do you think you got kind of the vision to create your life the way you want it, and then kind of the courage to take those steps to make it happen?
Great question. I was just actually speaking about this with my aunt the other day, that one of my favorite personality traits about myself, because I don't like being told no. I don't like being told if you're going to tell me not to do something or I can't do something, even if I didn't really want to do that thing, I'm probably now going to want to go do that thing because I want to be like, no, I can absolutely do this or overcome this or challenge this. So when I was younger, it was mostly my dad's thing, his saying, and it has stuck with me. The amount of times he said this when I was little was just to find something that you enjoy doing 80% of the time, because everyone's going to have days at work they don't want to go. I don't care if you have the coolest job in the world. There will be 20% or more, that you don't enjoy or it's not your favorite. But if you can be really happy and passionate about it 80% of the time, because if you're always looking for something that every single minute of every day you're just obsessed with, like, I think that might be a scenario. That'd be amazing. Maybe it exists, but there's, even when I have my best days, like there's still going to be whatever that comes up. So finding something that you enjoy 80% of the time and making something that you enjoy into your career and having to be creative about what that looks like. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and this was the conversation with my aunt. We were talking about just some people I know that fear stops them from doing so many things.
Yeah.
And my opinion, it's like almost like I'm like missing some brain cells that even have that, because I'm like, I would never stop myself from doing something I want to go do just because I'm unsure about a few of the details. Like I'm like, we're going to figure it out. Here's the problem. Where's the solution? Let's like get to to where the goal is. And I think something really interesting that as I'm getting older, I've learned more about, and think it's something that maybe is a little bit of a fresh take just in the 2025, the year it is, versus the 50s when all our grandparents were alive. I think it's okay to not have an end goal and get just to that end goal and not reroute during it. I think that used to be like they've started one job and they never left it because of security, and they were doing their best, and that's what existed, I think, back then. But now there's so many cool opportunities. I do think it's actually a skill to be able to pivot and adapt to maybe that was the goal, but this other thing came up and it's kind of in the same vicinity, and like, actually this makes more sense. Let's do this. And that's what I've done my whole life. And that's what allowed me to, because I think you have to have a general picture of where you want to go and how you want to spend your time, and then work out a roadmap of, there's probably a couple different ways to get there. You just need to get to that area. So that's, again, like I said, I didn't plan to be in the hunting industry on TV. I actually wanted to work in marketing in the hunting industry. I wanted to do like the back end of it. Yeah. But I started hunting because our family business had the TV show. I sort of got like, okay, like you're still going to keep doing the show because the show's doing good and everyone likes you and your dad on there. And I'm like, okay. So, I mean, as a 20-something-year-old, it was really fun. Yeah. But it's been really, really incredible to be able to, even as I had kids, it's still my career and my job, and I've adapted it now to I didn't think it would be doable at the time. I'm like, once I have kids, I'm kind of like saying goodbye to my career because it was traveling and adventure, and that's hard to do with babies when you have to, I want to be home and be an active mom with them. Yeah. But now it's a lifestyle brand, and I think I'm more relatable now with children than I ever was when I was in my 20s, because most people have kids at some point, and I don't get to do all the stuff in Africa like I used to, just at the drop of the hat. So it's been fun to pivot and adapt my career like that and still be able to do the things I love, which is mothering, but also family and outdoors and adventures and bows and wild game and all that stuff. So I just can't imagine being scared to do it, because I don't even know where I would be right now, but probably not enjoying it like I do.
I've used a ton of Bluetooth speakers over the years, and they all have never quite had enough output for me to really have an awesome home gym workout on a Bluetooth speaker. But the Turtle Box is in a whole new ball game. They have leveled up this product, so the bass and the output you get out of a Turtle Box is quite amazing. It's funny how we started using them at the lab. We had an awesome sound system at our new lab here in Bozeman. We were using it so much, we actually blew our brand new system out. We went right to the Turtle Boxes, and so we paired two together in the lab, and that was a lot of output for the Mountain Tough team and all of our testing to have phenomenal sound in our gym for a great workout with great music. We know there's a ton of Mountain Toughers training in their basements, in their garages, and I know a lot of you are looking for great sound to play some music in the background to your MGDs. This is a great product for you to check out. Turtle Box is at a whole new level. The bass and the volume you can get out of that box It's a sweet product. You guys can check them out at turtleboxaudio.com. Use promo code TOUGH for a free Turtlebox hat with the purchase of a Gen 2 speaker. The hat must be added to your cart before entering the promo code TOUGH, TOUGH. Yeah, it is so interesting because I'm the same way and very entrepreneurial, and I look at opportunities and risks, and once I see them, I can't help myself from, taking action to try that opportunity or move towards that opportunity. And taking action in whatever direction it might be always frees up any worry that I have about it working out, because the action always fights that worry. And then, just like you said, the opportunity that ultimately ends up happening can look a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, but those action steps lead to the next thing, and then that leads to the next thing, and then eventually something beautiful is created, but it oftentimes doesn't look like that original vision at all.
Which doesn't make it a failure. That's what I've had to teach myself as I'm 37. So by no means have I learned all these life lessons, but I've learned more than when I was 20. And I've realized that when I'm somewhere and I look back, I'm like, well, this isn't quite what I thought. It actually is like the perfect place for where I should be and what I should be. So it's not a failure that this thing went wrong or this thing didn't happen. It's like those things, if you wouldn't have gone through those things, I mean, we all have things that we've made bad decisions, or we've, started something, it didn't quite work out, like the amount that you learned from it. And then also that time spent probably rerouted you a little bit. And also I think the big thing, like what you're saying, is if you just know you're going to figure it out, like, you're going to,
Yeah.
I was talking again with my aunt, and she's a little bit older, and she said some things make her more nervous now. She's almost 60 and make her more nervous to change routes. And I was like, well, that's a little more understandable because you're at an age where you don't necessarily want to start over, because, if you're at that age versus 37. And I'm like, but if something tomorrow, if social media shut down and whatever shut down, it would really stink. Like I would not be thrilled by any means. But I also, there's no doubt in my mind, I would be like, okay, let's figure it out. And then let's start this new challenge and let's keep going, because you just have to, if you just stop and everything scares you and makes you nervous, like you just got to push through that and get to a place where you believe in yourself enough that you're going to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times on this show, I just want to kind of like grab people and shake people and encourage them to go for these things that they know they should go for, because if they don't, that is when you see someone, they stay in that job for 10 years that they know they don't like and they hate. And that starts creating all these other negative snowball effects. So their family life suffers, their marriage suffers, their fitness suffers, their diet suffers, all because they're not kind of like pursuing that calling of their heart. And I think backcountry hunting and hunting, I think, highlights so well how the process is so much bigger a part of the journey than the final prize. And so an amazing like 10-day backcountry caribou hunt, the ability to harvest a caribou towards the end of that hunt is phenomenal, but the work put into that moment is almost more rewarding than the moment itself. And I think these life decisions and creating our own path and taking the path less traveled work the same way, where it's not going to be some big moment that accumulates all the success that we were looking for. It is going to be this like amazing process that creates us into who we are. But we have to get over that fear to take some of those steps to make that happen.
Yeah, and the process of it, you can't be doing the comparison game of the process for, like, if I'm backcountry and I'm hunting with Cam Haines, who I assume you and your whole audience probably knows, like, I'm not going to pretend that me and him are the same person and we're going to get to the top of the mountain the same way. That's not going to happen. I mean, unless he really slows down and like stays with me going around paces. Like we have to get to the top of the mountain. he's going to go. I'm going to go maybe a slightly different route or slower or whatever I'm going to do, but you can still get there and you can still,
Mm-hmm.
or I think that's been something a lesson also as a female hunter. If you're trying to just like keep up and do exactly what every other hunter out there is doing, it might not look the same. Like I probably can't lift the same as you. And I don't put that on myself of like, well, that means I'm not a good hunter. Like, I mean, that has nothing to do with it. You know, like you can still get to the end goal. You can still enjoy something. You can still have success at something, even though it might look a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't need to scare you from doing it just because I'm not going to be as fast up the mountain as Cam or lift as much as you're going to lift. Like, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
Laugh at yourself and then continue on, and then you actually get to go enjoy your life and do the things that you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and run your own race.
Mm-hmm.
How has faith played a role in your life and your life creation and kind of where you're at now with your family?
Oh, so important. It faith for me, the journey has been, I guess everyone's journey is unique. I've learned that over the years too. I always think mine's like super unique, but it's not. I didn't grow up super faith-based where I was from. It was not super common. Believed in God, but like didn't quite understand much about it. When I got older, I remember being 7 or 8 and I asked my mom to drop me off at Sunday school and I barely knew what Sunday school was. And up until a couple years ago, I'm like, I asked her to do that. And someone told me, you know what, you didn't ask her to do that. God put it on your heart that you needed to be there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've always thought it was me doing it, but that's what I've learned. It's none of this is us doing it. It's God doing it and encouraging us or guiding us there. So from a young age, I started being really interested in just faith in general.
Mm-hmm.
Living in the South now has been much more prevalent here. So like all of our friends go to church. Whereas that no, still none of my friends go to church, which is totally fine. Everyone lives their own lives and has their own beliefs. But I used to, in my early 20s, I was sort of not as deeply rooted in faith, probably, because I just was still learning a lot about it. But I would go into the woods and feel like that. And my dad has said this, and it was just, I don't know if it was a family thing or just in my soul, because I share that, the genes with my dad. You would go into the woods, and that was the closest I would feel to God ever,
Mm-hmm.
as you
Yeah.
would be experiencing all his creations with no distractions. And you had nowhere else to be. Like you are sitting that your plan is to sit there. You're not waiting, well, you're waiting for an animal, but you're not waiting to move or whatever. You're just sitting there enjoying it and absorbing it. And so I never felt so close as when I would be in that situation. And now, I mean, we're raising our kids and they go to Christian school and they love God and love Jesus and love all that. And it's him being able to create all these things that we can now experience in our daily lives and the outdoors
Mm-hmm.
and the beauty of it. When we travel, we thank God for creating it for us.
Yeah.
It's something, I don't know, I can't imagine not having it. And it's not a
Mm-hmm.
judgment thing of if someone doesn't believe in God, like it's not I'm better than you. It's like I just don't know how. I don't know, there would be such a huge void in my life if I didn't have that whole part of me that always knew that was God. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
created by God. God is doing this. God has a plan. I lost my mom last year and you know, I can't imagine not having the idea that she is in heaven and
Yeah.
God, that was known the whole time from the minute my mom was born and way before that would be her last day on earth was the day she passed
Mm-hmm.
away. Like, you know, those things there, it's not a coincidence. It really happens for a reason. So it's a
Yeah.
big part of our lives. And I do love also, I think the hunting community in general, there is a lot of faith-based communities within the hunting world. And it's been really, we've created a lot of friendships over that and just a lot of things that we have in common with a lot of people that love the outdoors and love Jesus.
For sure. Yeah. I love that. And I got the chance to interview your dad last year, and he emphasized the point that being out in some of these hunting locations, to not be able to acknowledge a higher power, to not be able to acknowledge God in the creation of some of these places that hunting takes us, and some of the landscapes you get to see and the things you get to see in those landscapes, to sit in those environments and not believe that God created those things, it would be very difficult to do after you've seen them and the beauty of hunting locations is one of the really amazing things about hunting, that it gets us out of our concrete environment. It gets us out of our houses and our cities and into these special places where you just can't believe some of the things that are out there that have been designed and created for a specific purpose. And I think hunting, because we see that really strong faith bond in hunting, I think a lot of that comes from the things that we're able to see in creation and just how supernatural they are sometimes. Hey guys, I did want to interrupt for a quick minute right here and let you know about some supplements I've been taking. I did shy away from supplements for a long time. I was always cautious about what they were made out of, where they were from, and who the team was behind the brands. But over the last couple of years, I've got to meet the team at Mountain Ops from top to bottom, and they are an amazing group of humans. I've got to know the CEO, Trevor Farnes, really well, and he is a mission-focused individual that cares about humans living a better quality of life so that they can have that abundant life. So over the last couple of years, he has helped me add some things that have changed the game for me. One of those things that I've added is creatine from Mountain Ops. It helps me maintain some muscle mass, but also it's a big player in cognitive function, one of the most researched supplements out there. Also, I've added reds, greens, and protein, all from Mountain Ops. What I found as a busy professional, always on the run, I do eat a whole foods diet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but on the go, it's hard to get enough vegetables, fruits, and protein. So I've added that from Mountain Ops, and it has significantly changed the game. I can feel it in my performance. I haven't got sick for a long time, and I can certainly feel it in my mental clarity as well. The last thing I've added is the Mountain Tough Hydrate product for the backcountry, for hunting season. When I'm in the hills, I do run short on those electrolytes. We even have a Mountain Tough flavor, the Mountain Tough Lemon Lime Hydrate, and that is a game changer for hydration in the backcountry. So I keep it really simple. That is all I've added to my protocol, and it has certainly helped me, and I certainly believe in the team and the culture behind Mountain Ops. They have started an initiative that's been around for a while called Conquer Hunger. Conquer Hunger is giving meals to hungry kids that aren't getting enough food, and they've given out over 6 million meals plus to kids through their Conquer Hunger initiative. So every order that happens at Mountain Ops, a percentage of that order goes to Conquer Hunger. So certainly an incredible company, an incredible culture. As a listener to the show, you do get an exclusive offer to Mountain Ops, so make sure you check that out. The offer is incredible as a first-time purchase at mountainops.com. So build your order if it's your first time. They are offering you a 20% exclusive discount. All you need to do is enter the promo code Mountain Tough, all one word, all caps, for 20% off your first order at mountainops.com.
It also always shocks me that when you're going hunting and you're walking through the woods or hiking a mountain or sitting in a stand and you're trying to be quiet, I think maybe the fact that you're trying to be quiet is what allows for this to happen. But in what other situation would you ever be doing those things and absorbing the like beautiful detail around you? Like, I mean, you could go for a run, I guess. Maybe I don't like running, so I'd probably be in a really bad mood the whole time and not enjoying any of it. But there's not like you're always just trying to get somewhere or do something. Whereas when you're hunting, you're like wherever you are, you don't know when an animal's going to show up. So you maybe are trying to get to the other side of the valley, but at any moment something might pop up. So you're kind of also you're situated and wherever you're situated, and that might be your end spot for the rest of the day. So you can look around and enjoy where you are and notice things that I just wouldn't notice if I wasn't out there hunting, because I probably otherwise would have had a million things on my mind, and hunting almost clears all of that because you can't do anything about them at that moment, especially if you have no service, which is like a love-hate relationship for me. I actually love when I'm somewhere with no service because you really can't do anything. But then, of course, you're disconnected to all the things that we're connected to all the time.
I know we talk a lot at Mountain Tough that for people that are struggling with anything, whether that's, depression or they're struggling with where they're at in life, one of the magical hacks is just doing like a 3-day trip without your phone. And so if you do like a 3-day camping trip, you can do that in the South, you can do that in the West, anywhere where you can get off the grid a little bit and leave your phone at home. The amount of life change you can create in those 3 days, it's crazy. It's magical what just being outside without the busyness of life can kind of do for your soul.
Even sometimes also it lets you, I can't say I've done it without my phone. That kind of gives me anxiety because wild, but I think it would probably take a day and then you would just realize you don't have your phone and let's move on and let's enjoy everything. But I also feel whenever I go hunting, because you're being forced out of your comfort zone most of the time. There's been a handful of hunts I've been on where I'm not out of my comfort zone, but for the most part I am, which I'm not saying I love. Like I don't like being cold and wet and that's not my favorite, but when you then go back to the luxury that we all live in North America,
Yeah.
you're in a Starbucks line and or in traffic, you're getting irritated. And then you think back, like I was, on this hunt and time didn't really matter to nothing. There was no traffic and there was no this. It really just makes you reset your brain a little bit. And sometimes I come back from a hunt and I'm nice and calm. And then it starts like adding up again after a few months and like, I got to go back to the mountains. Go reset again back to the natural habitat that is much more my speed.
For sure. It's an amazing reset. So with where you're at in life now, do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I've never worked for anyone else in my life, so I guess that counts. I've always said, like, if I had to actually apply for a job, I don't know what skills I would have. I would not have a resume. I did a resume class in college, and that's the last time I've ever touched one. I just kind of made my way. Honestly, sometimes it's hacking a bunch of stuff together, and other times it's a more smoothly successful running business, but it looks different all the time. So yes, I would. By no means am I like, the Gary V that has multi billion dollar businesses, but I think an entrepreneur is just someone that can start their own thing and kind of focus and get something created that didn't exist before and also to
Mm-hmm.
create a life that you love. So again, like while I don't have a billion-dollar business that some Fortune 500 company is going to come by. I have a lifestyle that I just love, and
Yeah.
I'm with my kids all the time, which for me as a mom is a huge thing. I would have given up my business without even thinking about it if it meant if I had to choose
Family
between
time.
being like a very full-time mom.
Yeah.
But I've been able to create something that I can kind of do both, and I'm with my kids when they're home, and I love it. And then I also get to go on adventures and still have that part of me, which I think is also really important to not give up everything because all of us moms had personalities and loves of what we enjoy doing and hobbies and things that really filled our soul. And
Mm-hmm.
it does scare me to turn into a mom and suddenly think like everything else has to go. So I've been able to find that. I shouldn't say balance because I don't think there's really a balance when you're trying to be a mom and run a family and all that, but find a lifestyle that really makes me happy and be able to pay some bills and uh, just kind of go day to day and for the most part really enjoy it.
That's awesome. Yeah, with entrepreneurship, it does kind of make you unemployable. It would be hard to, go back and work for anyone else after going through what you've gone through.
And like skill wise, for sure, just what would I put on my resume? But also, if someone was trying to be my boss, I don't know. Like it would not go well. Because
Yeah.
imagine, I mean, have you been on like your own boss for a long time, or did you
Yep.
have a boss? Okay, so
Self-employed for
if
a long
someone tried
time.
to tell me when to clock in and clock out, I would not like it. Which again, I would not be a good employee. Hopefully, no one is in a position to hire me, or I have to go get a job. But I also am like, I'm an entrepreneur. If everything shut down tomorrow, I just would start something else. I don't know what it would be, but I would find something and I would somehow make money from it. Like I just know. I think that's the soul of someone who is an entrepreneur. You just know that is the option. There's not really a plan B as far as not working for myself and not creating something, even if I don't quite know what that thing would be.
Yeah. Do you think that passion and skill set came from seeing how your dad lived his life?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. It ironically, I would say yes because the obvious from him doing that, and I've never seen someone work so hard as my dad. I've never seen someone, I mean, to a fault. It was almost crazy, like how focused and motivated and dedicated to his craft he was and the hunting and all that, but just loved it, so passionate. But then on the flip side, I saw my mom, who is not an entrepreneur. Her goal was to be a stay-at-home mom because that was what she lived for. And I've never to this day met a mom that is a better mom than her, very much including myself. It's like my goal is to be like her. So I saw these two, like the dichotomy of those two personalities, but also like, how can I do? I'm very much my dad, but I'm also very much my mom. So I tried to sort of combine the two.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. It's always I guess you always feel like you're not doing 100% at anything because you have a few different things going on. I'm not 100% every moment of the day available for my kids, but I'm also not 100% all in on my career. But I think you have to find a place that makes sense for the lifestyle that you want. And if I wanted to go and grow my business tenfold, I truly, with all of my heart, and this is back to like, you just don't, the mentality of not giving up. Like with all of my heart, I know I could do it, but it would take a lot of commitment and time out of this bucket with my kids to go do it. And I also 100% know I could be the best class mom and the best, like raising money for their school and doing every, carpooling with everyone else's kids and bringing them to every game. I could 100% do that and be the best at it, but also it would take a lot out of the bucket of career. So I think everyone is different, and some people career is their thing and they have kids and they have a nanny their whole life and that is what they want. And that's okay. People turn out great because growing up like that. And then the vice versa of a mom staying home or a dad staying home and being all there to raise kids. I just think every family looks different and every lifestyle looks different. And we kind of get one shot at this, and figuring out what as a family works for you is so much more important than making it look like somebody else's formula.
For sure. And I think the faith component is a big one in all that conversation as well, because the knowledge of knowing that you really can't fail and that we've already won and that God has always provided and God is continuing to provide and will continue to provide, and that God wants you to be a great mom for those kids, and that's a priority. Like that really changes the whole equation, where there's not as much fear about, the what ifs. Mountain Tough is the fitness app trusted by the dedicated. Mountain Tough ethos is backed by, we've always wanted to be the best in the world at helping our customers become more mentally tough. So inside the Mountain Tough app, you're not only going to find all of our physical training programs, but you're going to find additional training as well so that you can stay sharp physically, mentally, spiritually, and nutritionally. The Mountain Tough app also allows you to train no matter where you are, anytime, anywhere. Additionally, the Mountain Tough app is going to have programs from beginners all the way up to elite athletes. And all of our programming is structured in a way that you can start with no gear at body weight, and you can go all the way up to programming that is full gear. So you can do that in a robust home gym or your local gym. There's no excuse for you not to start today. With Mountain Tough, you can conquer your goals with the ideal program for your lifestyle and schedule. Train with equipment or just your body weight on your phone, tablet, TV, or web browser. Most importantly, Mountain Tough will help you train your mindset so you are always ready for anything life throws your way. Mountain Tough is offering the Mountain Tough podcast listeners an incredible offer. 6 weeks free on the Mountain Tough app. All you need to do is use the code MTNPOD to redeem your 6 weeks of training. That'll be a 14-day free trial plus a whole additional 4 weeks of training. Just go to mountaintough.com and enter code MTNPOD for your 6 weeks free on the best-in-class physical and mental training app.
Yeah, not letting the worry sit on your chest, but let God take it over. And sometimes to a fault where I'm like, it's going to get figured out. And I mean, it does though, right? It seems so weird. I'm like, I hope I'm just not being irresponsible by saying this will get figured out. And I don't mean financial stuff, just like life stuff that comes up. And I'm like, I know this will become clear. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to wait for signs. I'm going to wait for God to guide us or lead us. And I mean, there's probably been a lot of things that we just missed because we got led a different direction and been like how
Yeah.
thinking in hindsight, you just, I don't know. I think where we are is great. And when in the tougher times, I've also known in the tougher times we've been through, which we've been through a lot, you just know you're going to come out and it's like that's a phase, they're all phases and they're all lessons and they're things that you are meant to go through and walk through because God knows you can handle it. And I truly, again, with all my heart, that's what I believe. So it's what is there, why are you going to worry about it or worry about the outcome?
Yeah, for sure. What are you doing these days for fitness for hunting?
So I don't do like specifics for hunting necessarily. It's kind of more back to my like 365 days, the times in my life where I have not stayed in shape throughout the year and I try to get in shape for hunting has not been my favorite because then I go on a hunt and I always just feel like I don't enjoy it as much as I should be enjoying it because my body is not ready to do it. And I kick myself because we all save up money and save up our time and our days off or for our babysitters or whatever the situation is. And then you go on a hunt and I would love to enjoy it as much as I possibly can. And generally that just means being physically fit. So and also like you were saying, if I'm not physically fit and getting the outlet of working out and endorphins and all that, and also just like looking and feeling strong, I'm not the best version of a mom or a wife or a boss or anything like that because I don't think mentally my brain is where it should be.
Yeah.
So I do I kind of do. I'm active all the time. I do weight training like 3 times a week if I can. I just started playing tennis again. I played in high school just for something. I feel like the more active you are, the better. It doesn't have to be certain things. I don't like getting bored with one thing and then forcing myself to go do it. Like if I get bored with it, I try something else for a while and then come back to it. I would say mostly the weight training. Although now that I'm playing tennis and I don't do a lot of cardio other than the weight stuff, like, oh, maybe I should do more cardio because I can feel my heart like
at tennis.
So maybe I do need to do more cardio before we're going up mountains again. But I would say, I think just staying active all the time. There's very few weeks where I have not done a bunch of something. Or, I mean, I have a 5 and an 8-year-old, so I play soccer in our yard every night and I play baseball every night and that kind of thing. We're like, as long as you're moving. And then on the flip side of that, we eat really healthy. So we do my husband does the carnivore diet. So he just eats meat. He was a pro hockey player and has a lot of injuries and he's had a lot of arthritis and shoulder replacements and all that kind of stuff. So he's tried all different things. He's tried keto, he's tried whatever, trying to reduce inflammation. And the one that he's done that his body feels the best on is carnivore. So he eats almost exclusively meat and tequila and sourdough bread. Those are like his food groups.
That's his diet.
I eat veggies and stuff, but we eat a lot of meat because of what we do in him. And then lots of we grill on the Traeger all the time. So lots of veggies and meat. So I feel like it's the working out combined with the
nutrition.
Nutrition in the kitchen.
Are you doing your strength training in a home gym?
I was when my kids were little. They're still little, when they were smaller and it was really hard to get out or when they weren't in any sort of school a few years ago, I did it almost every day upstairs. We had a Peloton, treadmill, and then mostly weights. Like the weight training is what I like the best. But now I go to a actual gym where it's like a semi-personal training type thing where it's all just weight training. Nice. I herniated some discs in my back 5 years ago. And it's been really hard to recover from it. I can't do what I used to do, which is hard mentally when you're athletic and in shape and competitive and all those things. Because as soon as it starts feeling better, I want to go back and do all the really heavy stuff. So I've had to pull back, but you can still do weight training. You just have to be a little bit more careful, which drives me crazy. I would love to not have that be a thing. And I'm like, I can push through it. But if I do, I can't walk for a couple weeks. So it's just not conducive to being active.
Back issues are the worst for sure.
Yeah, they take down pretty tough people, which does make me feel better because I'm like, I hate complaining about stuff, but I see really tough people that if you have really bad back issues, like you get it, you're on the
Oh
same
yeah.
page as that person, and it'll get you. But it's I think yeah, as long as the more active I am, the better my back is. So if I'm
Hmm.
not active, or if I'm get sick, or if I'm lazy for a couple weeks or busy, my back is worse. So it makes me it's sort of like
Yeah.
there's there's no benefit of not being active for me.
Yeah, and so much of it is about longevity, and especially with your identity and kids, and thinking about like if we're hunters in our 40s, can we be great hunters in our 50s? If we're hunters in our 50s, can we still be hunting when we're in our 60s? Can we be hunting with our kids, and can we be hunting with our grandkids and playing soccer and tennis with our grandkids? And so much of that comes down to wise training, not just training, and being really wise about it.
It's not well, and that's what I had to get over was sometimes the weights that I'm lifting. It is weight training because it's still big weights for someone like my size. Like they are very heavy, but it doesn't look the same as the weights I used to do, which were heavy and I was in super good shape, but it also probably was like, look how much weight I can lift. And like, look, it's not
Hmm.
that anymore. It's like, look how long I can lift these weights for when I'm 65. I hope, like, I hope and pray that I can do that and making decisions for exactly what you're saying, the longevity and for your own self and not it's not for anybody else. I mean, I guess indirectly it is because again, if I don't do any exercise, I'm like irritable and not the best mom. So it is sort of for other people because my kids then see the good side of me and I can chase my 5-year-old and still beat him, but like
Yeah.
not by much. But yeah, that is kind of why I took tennis back up again, which not that I'm old at 37, but I would love to get good and do something that I can continue doing. And hunting is one of those things like hunting, shooting. I mean, you can shoot bows. Bows would get a little harder, I guess, but you can go to crossbow. You obviously
Yeah.
can shoot guns forever. That golf, there's not
Yeah.
that many things you can do at 95 that you
Hmm.
can start now and get used, like be comfortable doing them as you start getting older. And I think it's good to find those things.
For sure. Yeah, especially the way you can incorporate the whole family.
Hmm.
Well, I know we're coming to the end of our hour, and I do want to be respectful of your time, but in closing, do you have any big crazy adventures planned for this year?
We're going to Hawaii. It's actually my husband and I's 10-year anniversary. So we are going with our kids, going on an axis hunt in Hawaii, which will be really fun on Lanai.
Awesome.
I've been one time, but my husband couldn't come. So I brought our daughter, who's now 8. She was like 2.5, and I was 7 months pregnant with my son, which in hindsight seems kind of of a crazy thing for me to have done. But at the time, it was just part of my life traveling. So I just carted everybody with me. So we're gonna go do that. We're gonna do an elk hunt this year, which I'm very excited about in New Mexico. I haven't been elk hunting in a few years, which is my number one like favorite hunt. I just haven't had the
Yeah.
opportunity to do it. Going mule deer, whitetail hunting in South Dakota. Last year we went. My husband tagged out on the last morning, and I was like 6 yards from a bedded whitetail, and he stood up and shot, and I was bow hunting and
Oh,
didn't get anything, and so I have to go back and
redemption.
yes, redemption. I'm like, my husband is not allowed to bring his bow out until I went last year. We went and it was so fun, but I hunted morning, night, the whole time for I think it was 6 days, which is like a long time for me. Like when I get to like the 5, 6 days, I'm like, I can't like miss my kids. I want to go, I can do it, and then I want to like get home. And so on the 6th day, or maybe the 7th day, we were leaving at like 10 in the morning. And so I said, I'll pack up. We were staying in a cabin. And I said, I'll pack up the cabin. I'll get all our gear packed up to like go out hunt for the last morning. And he tagged out.
Oh man.
Well, one day I wasn't there. I was like, congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
come on.
we just have now, like I said, my kids are our kids are a little older. It's really nice to have a little bit more flexibility, either bringing them or if grandparents are staying with them or something, we're not asking them to babysit babies with diapers and are up all night. Our kids are cool and they can hang out
Yeah,
and play and be active. So it's fun. I kind of feel like I'm getting a little bit of myself back too with the hunting and the traveling and getting to fill up our schedule a little bit more. So I'm excited for this year.
that's exciting. Yeah, it's a good season. That Lanai trip will be amazing too.
It is. When we went last time, it still seems like it wasn't real, but we were seeing 400 axis deer like at a time. It was just wild to me. Every time you got within 200 yards, they'd be gone. So it was something my husband wants to do it with his bow. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to try that. I might just stick with my rifle. But people do it. Like Cam's done it. A couple other guys have gone and done it. But you have to be pretty motivated to just use your bow and not switch over. Because if you're using a rifle, it's not that it's super, super easy. It's just there's so many of them. It almost makes it harder because they're just watching you from everywhere. There's always eyeballs on you. And then you finish your hunt for the day and you get to go to the Four Seasons and have sushi. And it's just the weirdest combination of things, but all the things that I love. So it's gonna be a really fun 10-year anniversary celebration.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Eva, thanks for jumping on the show, and thanks for talking to us about that path less traveled and inspiring us and inspiring generations of young female hunters, including my own daughter. Thank you for all the work you've done there. It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the best compliment I can get, is being a good role model or example for the girls. Because again, I wish there was more things like that when I was that age, or more girls, women like that were accessible to me. And I know it's a different time, so now it's a lot easier for that to happen. But I love that little girls who might be wondering if it's not for them because of what someone's going to think. That's my biggest thing that I advocate, is don't worry what they think. If you want to do it and it makes you happy and you're passionate about it, or curious about it, even don't even know if you're passionate, don't worry about what anyone else thinks. Just do that thing and find a way to do that thing, and ask for help or ask someone to take you, or whatever you need to do. Because again, if you don't do it, you're going to go a long time or your whole life without doing it. You just don't know what that could have brought around, what lifestyle could have been created because of that thing you were too scared to go do.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Really big deal. Awesome, Eva. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. What a great conversation with Eva. Remember, every single episode, we're looking for that golden nugget. What can we take away from these episodes? What can we apply to our life this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow? That practical approach to life change, so that we're taking action right away. The big golden nugget for me, for sure, on this episode with Eva is when she dives into that conversation around the path less traveled. That's been a reoccurring theme over the last 6 or 7 Mountain Tough podcasts, is the guests coming on this show found a way to create personal agency and design the life that they wanted to live. Eva did a great job explaining that, how she has no fear, she has no worries, she knows that things are going to work themselves out as long as she's following her heart and her passion and building things the way that her soul desires, rather than settling or falling back into fear over security and safety. Big theme that's been reoccurring around the last couple Mountain Tough podcasts. So think about that. Think about where you're at with your life, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, where you want to be living. Are there decisions you need to make that are being held up by fear? Break that fear and start taking some action to build the lifestyle that God is calling you towards. Don't forget to keep up with Eva by checking her out on Instagram at Eva Shockey. Thanks for listening to the Mountain Tough podcast. Make sure to leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. And if you haven't yet, check us out on YouTube at Mountain Tough Fitness. Love you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.